Welcome to Feral Faith, where life is messy, but we're here for it all. I'm Cassidy,
And I'm Amber.
two friends and moms just trying to survive and thrive in this wild, beautiful chaos.
So we invite you into our living room where things may get a little fierce and spicy as we press in. No sugarcoating here, just real talk, real faith, and wildly present conversations.
We're showing up and letting our roars out. So buckle up, it's about to get real.
This is Feral Faith.
Oh, Feral Faith, good morning. Amber and I were just gangman style getting ourselves pumped up.
That's
Because
right.
we were possibly down a little rabbit trail before we hit record. Good morning, all. We
Or good afternoon, or good evening, or good night, or wherever you're
or
at.
why are you not sleeping? Go to bed. It's, you know.
That's right. Your brains need sleep.
Yes. So
Yes.
we are coming at you today because something that's been really on Amber's and my heart the last couple of weeks, just with holiday season, geopolitical temperatures, government shutdowns, reopenings. Everyone's got lots of feels. There's just a lot of feels this time of year.
Yeah.
Holidays, I don't know if it's just in my house. Let me rephrase. I know for fact it's not just in my house. I was trying to leave that as
The
an
statistics show us otherwise.
and you can go explore it yourself and check in on your own attunement. But here's the deal. Holidays are really challenging for us emotionally, spiritually, whether it's just the anxiety of hosting or if it's really challenging because there's broken family systems or someone's recently passed away or there's always that one drunk uncle who flips the table over, like whatever's happening. The holidays seem to bring up a lot of internal turmoil that we're trying to navigate through. And Amber and I have a history of, I don't know if you've caught on to this yet in all of our episodes, of wanting to equip listeners with tools and Brazilians or emotional resilience. It depends if you're listening to Joe's version or not to be able to navigate these really challenging acoustic moments in our life. And that's really hard to do when it's never been modeled or demonstrated, and you're not in tune with yourself or your story or what life has or hasn't done to you. And we have collectively decided we would like to be able to bring curriculum that we work with other people to the podcast.
That's right. What we charge mega bucks for, we're going to get for free.
Whee! Who's that guy? Now Venmo me $5. So
That's right. Now Venmo us $5. That's right. Go
we'll
to
say that
our
at the end.
website. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. I'm like, I wonder if that works. I
I
have
know.
in all my phone calls now with people. Now Venmo me $5.
Yeah. Yes. So good.
It is so good. Um, I talk to people a lot. Like I was thinking about this past week. I was like, I am going to start turning off my phone a little bit more. Not that I don't want to talk to you all. Like I love talking to people, but there's some changes going on in our own household that I was like, I need to set aside some space to just be quiet. I
Yeah.
had some quiet yesterday. My one of my kiddos went one way and another kiddo and a husband went another way. And I was like, oh, this is kind of nice.
Yes.
And I mean, of course, I had my Cassidy call. That was really nice. Sort of. You were
Yeah.
running around like
I
crazy.
know, but
But
we got to the things we
still
talked
talked.
about were
Oh,
so
I
good.
know. I know. It got us so good. Our conversations are good. But do you know there's a lot of people out there who don't have what we have
Yeah.
and who don't get to share their story with other people or have this space to unpack their lives with other people. And I know that for myself, I have been on a healing journey for, gosh, over 15 years of really truly taking on like being serious about my own story and helping others process their story. And for a really long time, I would do just one-on-ones, like just meet with people and just do one-on-one. And then several years ago, I was introduced to how to help others hear Holy Spirit in group format,
Yeah.
and then how to help others process their stories in group format. And it has just become a real passion to help people be able to share their story in collectivism, in that collective space. If you guys listened to our podcast previously with Joe and then with Jesse, we talk about the we in our stories, and that how even in our brains, we have not developed in our culture the we. And
Yeah.
so being able to slow down, get relational with people, become attached to people, and help them to process their story. And it also provides space for you to process your story.
Yeah.
Getting relational with people, people, we are designed by God to be in community.
Yeah.
Like there is no other design. And because man has mucked it up, and then we have an enemy who helps us muck it up. I
Yeah.
think he just like throws the thought out there and we run with it.
Yep.
Um, we have become a culture that does not provide space, does not provide time, nor a heart to want to hear one another because we're so busy.
Yeah.
Like we don't have empathy for one another to hear each other's stories. And so part of my journey is I was exposed young. Part of my growing up years, I was exposed to collectivism. And then I joined the military, and it's all about brotherhood, sisterhood. And then I got out into the real world and I was like, wait, they don't have this out here? Like,
Yeah.
this is really sad. And the resistance that I have met over the years of developing a community is really serious. Like and it's interesting. I think you and I were just having this conversation on the phone that what is it going to take for people to buy into the not to buy into our ministry. Like I care less if you ever join, but like to buy into this idea that in order for us to become a healed people, we
Yeah.
need to slow down and we need to take each other seriously.
Yeah.
Like just finding your onesies or twosies people and like saying your health matters,
Yeah.
your soul matters, your life matters, your children matter, your family matters, your marriage matters, your who you speak to and talk to and disciple matters.
Yeah.
But if we don't like take that seriously and we're just scrolling and we're just going from headline to headline and we're believing all the crap that they throw out of us to keep us separated and
Yeah.
to keep us like angry at one another, divided with one another, and not loving one another, well, we've bought into it and we are participating with this great big cultural psyop that they have
Yeah.
laid on us. And so we want to see what did we say before we jumped on here in our pre-recording conversation? If it's just for our children,
Yeah.
like you're going to have four, I'm going to have four, that's 8 kids. Even if our kids have a documentation on YouTube of our crazy conversations and
Yeah.
our life, who knows what they're going to have? They probably won't have YouTube. Maybe they'll have WeTube. I don't
Who
know.
knows? Yeah.
Isn't
Who
that interesting?
knows?
Even in the name of YouTube, it keeps us separated.
Yes.
um, that even if we can impact the generations in our own home with what God has equipped us with and taken us through in our journey of healing, that we have been able to develop a protected relationship that is now reaching out to others to protect those relationships and develop, that we want our kids to be able to love one another, to
Yep.
not separate from one another, to not have sibling discord,
Yeah.
which is going to happen. Like there's going to be conflict. We know conflict happens, but how to repair it quickly.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
so I guess I opened this podcast up with this question of how do we become a people who protect one another to help one another heal?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what
Well,
did that look like within your experiences with
yeah.
either your own healing journey or others, how we help others, and maybe some testimonies or just sharing of our own story in that?
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to stuff we've talked about with each other and various guests who are in all these different paradigms of ministry and healthcare and what they do and why they do it, I feel like as a culture, Western Europe and North America, we have lost being in attunement with ourselves because the expectations that our culture has bought off on is about your productivity and your image. It's not so much about what's going on the inside that you can't see, as long as you are getting the salary, the status, the nice house, the children who don't cuss in public. Like there's what's on the inside though. And there's such a counterfeit because so many of us know things may look really good on the outside and you cut into it and you're like, my doughy bread. Oh, that's not good on the inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like in my own journey, the first time I shared my testimony, I was at a MOPS group up in Bailey, and I talked about the idea that on paper, like if I had my life on resume format, which for those who don't know what a resume is, that's a list that has all your accolades and your credentials and all your amazing qualities. And you're not talking about your problems, you're talking about how amazing you are. It's a brag sheet. According to the Western standard of how to live, I was slaying at life. I have a bachelor's and a master's in nursing. I had 3 kids. I married the quarterback of my college football team. We live in a nice house in a nice area in New Jersey. He's making good money. I'm making good money working in the emergency room. We're doing great. I had all these little initials after my name because I had all these other certifications working in emergency medicine and trauma. You get all these things. I was doing great, except on the inside, I was dying. I was sick, struggling with anxiety, major issues with connection and attachment, which I didn't know what that was back then. I was just like, why am I anxious all the time? Why do I feel so dissatisfied? Why am I always thinking, do they like me? Why do I find myself crying upstairs when someone bails on me? Like, why do I let my family speak to me certain ways? Why am I oversharing? Why this? Why are my husband and I fighting? But I'm never speaking about it because on the outside I look really pretty. Then my life happened, right? COVID shows up. We're in Colorado. I'm postpartum with a baby. I'm not sure if I'm going to bring this terrible disease home. I'm wearing trash bags at work. I don't know. It's a really stressful time. So the heat got turned up and our lives fell apart. Me and my husband's life fell apart. And then it was, well, now what? And I didn't have Brazilians to come to the rescue. That's going to be
They
the
weren't
thing.
coming, huh?
I didn't have any Brazilians. None of them came. I had zero emotional resiliency skills, zero. And I had been to therapy. I did not have a normal late childhood, adolescent development. I had lots of stuff going on in my home. There was a lot of trauma regarding certain family dynamics that had to change with regarding loss and kids needing placement. It was a whole thing that my family took on, and there was nobody who talked about attachment theory. That was not what we did 20 years ago, 30 years ago. That was not in the modern psychology world. I'm not saying it wasn't in the Bible. We didn't have Bible in my house. So I feel like for me, healing didn't come until I was at the end of myself and said, I can't do whatever this is anymore. And that's when I came to know Jesus. And I didn't have people discipling me and walking with me. So it was literally me, Jesus, and my Bible. We're in the middle of a shutdown. I had no community to begin with. That was not the ideal circumstance to get community. But even then, it took getting real and being honest with people who were willing to make space for me, because when I went to the church and I started telling them, hey, this is what's happening in my life, it was literally a, if I no one, if for those who are listening, I'm holding up my cross fingers. And it was literally, that's too messy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to
Mm-hmm.
do with that. And it's like, cool, I just told you how messed up things are at home, and now you've shamed me.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That makes me want to tell so many more people about what I'm struggling with. And it wasn't until I got into environment where we all sat down and were like, oh, your stuff's messed up too. Wow, this happened to you. Oh my gosh, your stuff's way worse than my stuff. Like, you don't say it out loud, but you're thinking it like, oh, I didn't have that happen to me. It wasn't until there was the collectivism of, hey, we are human. Jesus is in that with us. And it's totally okay to be in the thick of a mess because he wants to clean it up.
Yeah. He's in the business of cleaning things up. Like,
Yeah.
if we really sat down and we laid out the ministry of Messiah on this earth and who he called, like, like we would be going to the bars, to the strip clubs,
Yeah. The
to the
street
messed up in
corners.
the street corners, the inner city,
Yeah.
the refugee camps, and we would be finding the people of peace in those areas and inviting them into following Messiah.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't be scared of that. Like, we wouldn't be scared of, I think when Peggy was on here, several episodes ago, we talked about like what's it going to take for our Western world to lay down our fear and be like, hey, if we want to see a place changed, we need to move into it.
Yeah. Well, then
Right?
people
Light
throw.
expels darkness,
Mhm.
period.
But then you have
Right?
people who throw the proverb of, bad character or bad company corrupts good character. And it's like, so basically, Jesus should have just stayed in a box his whole
Yes. Like, could you
life.
imagine the 12 that he surrounded himself with? Those some bad characters,
Yeah.
right? They didn't
Yeah.
corrupt him. And yet
Yeah.
that same spirit which raised him from the dead dwells inside of us. We are the hope. We are the ones that are supposed to make a change in people's lives.
Yeah.
But I think we have been raised in so much theology and so much doctrine that we haven't been demonstrated. Like, what does it look like to have a heart that has been replaced? Like,
Yeah.
we were told that we were going to be given a new heart and that his laws would be written on the heart and that we wouldn't be overcome by the things of this world. And
Yeah.
yet he says, take heart, I've overcome. And guess what? So are you. And then he tells us in Revelation when things seem like they're going to get really bad, he's like, hey guys, you want to know what overcomes? Your testimony,
Yeah.
right? Like, knowing that you have applied the blood of the lamb onto your doorposts and that you have had a change and then you lay down your life, that's what's
Yeah.
going to overcome. And so the last several years, I've been laying down my life to help others also develop their testimony to help them overcome. Because when I found that most women that I work with have never shared their testimony, 75 to 80% of women have never shared their testimony. And then when they enter into spaces that they might want to open up and share their testimony, a lot of times extra shame is put on them because for some reason we have this evangelical thought process in North America that you don't stink.
Yeah.
Like where did we get that from? Where did we
Yeah.
get that we come to Jesus when our mess is all cleaned up? Like
Yeah.
we come to know Messiah when things are all perfect? No. We usually come running to him because there's pain and the coping skills and the attachment skills and all these things that we learned being raised in the wrong home.
The Brazilians.
The Brazilians, the wrong Brazilians,
Yeah.
or the lack of Brazilians, didn't change us. It was laying down our life to say, I want to know, because Messiah said that we could overcome these things,
Yeah.
that we could overcome the tough stuff of life and be Brazilians, to have
Yeah.
resiliency in it. As you guys can see behind me, I have, a poster of my nervous system, or a nervous system, not mine. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, but that'll be after I'm dead. You can do the autopsy then, lay it all out. When you see pictures of what the structure of your nervous system looks like it's pretty freaky.
Yeah.
Like it looks like a crazy tree root system.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, I've been really dedicated to understand the nervous system, help people to also understand their nervous system, learn these attachment strategies. Attachment strategies really and truly, it boils down to how did I receive love and how do I give love?
Yeah.
Like, how did we learn what love looks like? And I have seen over and over and over again in North American communities that we do not know how to love.
Yeah.
Not, but no, we do not know how to love because we've not been demonstrated it. And as we have said over and over again, and we've had some brilliant people on here who know way more stuff than we do,
Yeah.
our brains have not been developed in love,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
And
And
to
that's
sit there and
data. That's not me and Amber on a soapbox. It's data. It's
yes,
it's
it's
like
data.
coming
It's
out.
across the nations, it's
Yeah.
across the world, it's in our backyards, in our own homes,
Yeah.
that our brains are wired by God to learn from one another. And unfortunately, we have been raised in households and in communities that don't know how to love. And
Yeah.
so then when we come into knowing Yeshua, we come into knowing Messiah, we come into following in the dust of the rabbi, we bring with us a lot of our strategies, our coping skills, our traumas, our misunderstandings, our
Our
wrong
worldview.
definitions,
Yeah.
our worldview, yes. And our worldview is separation
Yeah.
because we're an isolationist and an independent culture. We separate from what causes us pain right away.
Yeah.
Like we don't like that. We don't, our body is like, we're going to die. Like our nervous system literally is translating on a biological cellular level that this is very painful and you might die.
Did you know that we're one of the only cultures in the world that children sleep in rooms alone?
Mm,
And I looked this up. So it was I saw a thing on social media and I was like, I don't know if that's real. And then I looked up why we stopped sleeping communally,
mm,
and it started in the Victorian era because they said that it's only for poor people.
mm,
And
mm, mm, mm.
then now the APA, the American Pediatric Academy, or American Pediatric, what are they with the A? I can't recall things on a whim, guys. My gray matter's shrunk. I'm pregnant. The
The babies take her
the
brain.
yeah, it's like the governing body of pediatric medicine has walked back, cry it out, because
Mm,
they've said it is detrimental to infant nervous system
mm-hmm,
development.
mm-hmm.
And understanding this whole joy concept, that like joy is being able to be present and attune into warm and fuzzy, even in the midst of the tornado.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like, so getting into that
I'm
place of
glad to be
peace.
with you, right?
Yes.
Like, I'm
Yes.
happy to be here with you. Like,
Yeah.
your funk doesn't scare me. This storm doesn't scare me. I'm
and
happy
then
to be with
and then
you.
I can receive it, right? That's
Yeah.
how we're attuning. So that conversation we had with Jesse about how our brain is trying to attune into the environment, there's, again, it's up and coming right now. We understand this isn't mainstream thought process, but this is real. This is how God designed the body. And as you said, the nervous system reminds me of a tree trunk. I've been getting lots of different imagery regarding babies, carrying babies, and childbirth. And I keep
Hmm.
coming back to Eden, and I keep thinking about the tree of life. Our nervous system inside of our mortal body is our tree of life. And if it was not planted next to the river of living water, it will go through different seasons of survival. There could be fire, there could be terrible drought, there could be snow many months of the year. Like you're
Hmm.
in this variability of our humanity, and not having those deep roots,
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
nervous system can't make it.
Mm. Right. Or we learn coping skills to
Yeah.
survive that are not healthy, right? So then we bend towards the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We get all this knowledge and we separate and
Yeah.
we not life-giving. We don't know how to give life. We don't know how to receive life. And I find it really interesting, this idea of going the tree is that when Yeshua walked this earth and he was healing the blind man, what was the first? I see men walking as trees, right? So that points back to imagery of
Mhm.
the Old Testament when he talks about we do represent trees, right? There's
Yeah.
even like the woman in, I think it's in is it in Proverbs where he talks about a woman in the household is like a vine, a fruitful vine that's planted
Yeah.
in the courtyard, right? And so it's like this idea that we are Yeshua is the vine, we are the branches, we're tethered into him, but we are also, that also means I'm tethered to you,
Yes.
and we are tethered together. Like there isn't a separate branch. There
Yeah.
isn't a separate vine. Like he is the vine, we are the branches. That means we are receiving the same life force and you're getting the same life force, in that our survival as this people is by remaining tethered to
Yeah.
him and to one another. And when we go through seasons of separation, we actually are untethering ourselves from one another and we die. And he
Yeah.
says that a branch that is fruitless, he will gather and he will cast it away and he'll burn it up. Like it's like just when we are in the Midwest or somewhere where they're burning all of the trees and they're burning all of the dead, the things that are gathered up to be just clear out the field, that he's going to clear the field from those things that are fruitless.
Yeah.
So that means we have to stay tethered, but that means that we need to learn how to be tethered with one
Yeah.
another,
There's
which
so
means we
many.
need to go through seasons of healing,
Yes.
right? Like we need to be healed. We need to go through learning how to attune to one another. And
Yeah.
attunement simply is like, how do I look at your face?
Yeah.
How do you look at my face? Right? Like a mother attunes to her baby when he's in distress, she's bringing comfort to him,
And the baby
right?
attunes to mom, and that's what
Like,
brings the
is it okay?
comfort.
Is it okay? Mom's face is this peaceful? Is this joy? Is
Right.
this, and the baby goes, oh, okay, mom's okay. I'm okay.
Who
So
was
then
it
we do
that
that to one another. So
who said tuning forks? What were we listening to that talked about the tuning forks? Was that a reel where they were talking about how we can come into this harmonization in the tuning
I don't
forks?
remember. I mean, I know
You know what
of
I'm
it. I
talking about? We
remember.
talked
Yeah.
about it. It was
Mm-hmm.
probably it was
Mm-hmm.
probably almost 2 years ago, us talking about this idea of our, I think it came up when we were talking about the shofars and the harmony of the shofar, but the idea of like we're trying to harmonize our sounds and we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to harmonize in peace and the joy and settle into that warm and fuzzy. I feel like so
Mm-hmm.
many people, joy is such an abstract concept. It's the warm and fuzzy on the
Mm-hmm.
inside where you're like, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
so, I'm like bubbly and so happy to be here. And I feel like I didn't even know how to settle into that space until I went through trauma healing to reestablish the fact that there are women who can maintain a space for me to connect with myself, because
Mm-hmm.
that was not given to me. I didn't grow up in an environment where, particularly the women, but even my own, the men in my life did not have capacity for me to share my truth without bringing it into shame, without
Yeah.
dismissing me, without getting up and leaving, or without saying things like, well, this is just kind of the way it's going to be for you because you're intelligent. So, people are just not going to want to be your friends. It's like, oh, okay, I have lots of broken problems. And then hearing that, now it's my problem. So I must fix and I must fig leaf in order
Yeah.
to assimilate. So we're in
Yeah.
survival mode to enter into a tribe rather than there's people coming in who get like bubbly when they're around me and I get bubbly when I'm around them.
Right. And it doesn't mean that we're faking this bubbly or we're faking this joy, because joy actually is found in being is a relational experience.
Right.
Joy, like you can have joy of the Lord by your quiet time with him or by being ministered by Holy Spirit. Like there is that, but joy is when it's one of the fruits of the Spirit. It's evident by how I am interacting with my brothers and sisters around
Yeah.
me. And if we enter into that space and we feel like, gosh, I'm just not being joyful today, then we let their joy help attune us to say,
Yes.
hey, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, these things are fruits of the Spirit, but they're relational
Yeah.
fruits. Like, I can't go in the closet and just me, myself, and Jesus and then exhibit love. Like, now I should be putting on Christ. I should be coming molded into his image so that when I'm out in the world, I'm like pouring out these things. But these things have to be done in closeness and you have to be in proximity to one another. You have to be
Right.
doing life with one another. You have to be like, there's got to be areas of your life that I want to be a part of and
Right.
vice versa, that we find joy in doing these things with one another. But we have to learn what attachment looks like in order to
Yeah.
do this. And also in that getting to know one another, we learn where our triggers are. Like I don't like to use that word because I know it's like everywhere and it's a psychology word that
It's
has
a
been moved into
triggering
our,
word, Amber.
it is a triggering word. You're triggering me by triggering me. Um I'm triggered because you're triggered. No, you're triggered. But it's evidence that there are pain points that have
Yeah,
not been healed.
right.
And it's usually through relational disconnect. So if I'm having relational conflict, there's an internal conflict where there might be still shame. There might be fear. I might be trying to control the situation. So if my
Mhm.
nervous system is feeling dysregulated in a relational interaction, then there's a place that is revealing that it's not been healed.
Yeah,
And so we try to provide space in these trauma healing groups, these healing groups, and our relationships by saying, share your testimony so that it can be unpacked without shame.
yeah,
So that, because shame, remember when we shared that with Jesse's podcast, that shame was put on us in community in those
yep,
relational disconnects. So shame has to be healed in relational connections.
yeah,
And we want to create like a people who are protective of one another's hearts and journeys that
yeah.
we can say, hey, let's walk this together so that you can feel healed, so that you can help someone else, and that we can impact the generations.
Right. Well, and the thing about being in the togetherness and having the safety that we've talked about, but it's again, it's really important. Your nervous system is going to tell you a truth. That does not mean it is the truth.
Mhm.
Your nervous system is going because its job is to keep you alive. Its job is I'm at war. Bear, bear, alarm. That's its job. So when something happens, the nervous system in milliseconds makes a decision and relives in the body its memory of this bad thing. This time I was helpless. This time I didn't have a voice. This time someone made me feel really bad. And you might not have a freaking clue where that noodle goes
Mhm.
back to,
Mhm.
but your nervous system is speaking a truth. And then you get people who lock up in the prayer closet and they're praying out of their soul and they're receiving in their soul, not spirit me out of the way and I can hear what Jesus has to say because so many people will justify separating because
Mhm.
God told them to, but that is counter to the entire Bible. It's counter to the entire Bible. Look at the Passover meal with Jesus and Judas. He didn't go anywhere. So we're not separating even in face to face with our enemies. It's
You
complete.
prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies, and you
Yeah.
anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over, right? Like, so there's this idea of like, we can do it.
Yeah.
We can be in relationship with our enemies.
Right.
That is the mark of a mature disciple, is
Right.
that when I can sit at the table and I don't lose sight of who I am in the midst of betrayal, in the midst of relational conflict, in the midst of knowing, hey, you might be alone at the end of this meal. They may reject you. He knew. It says that on the Mount of Transfiguration, Moses and Elijah, when they came down, it says they encouraged him and they spoke to him about what he was about to go through.
Yeah.
And
And
the
that's
night
why
of
you
his
need people.
betrayal, and the night of his betrayal, when they scattered, the angels came and ministered to him, right? Like,
Right.
so there's this idea of like, there may be times in your life that people do reject you. Hello, I know that for a fact.
Yeah. Same.
But guess what? I have become more and more secure in my attachment to God and as a human being that there are restorations going on in our community because I chose to walk in honor, because I chose to say, God, you've got to deal with them. And it hurts. Like it really hurt.
Yeah.
And there's been impact of a couple years of some of these choices. But I decided I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep doing what God has called me to do. And
Right.
I'm going to become securely attached to other people and not let the rejection speak into my identity.
And that's where the change comes in. So when
Mhm.
you have your onesies, twosies, and you can, I just literally this week I said, hey, Amber, my husband's giving me feedback about this. What do you see here? Is there something in there? Because we have some trauma history, my husband and I. He's not here. There's my army hand going. Yay!
There he is.
So it's one of those things where I can hear things through a confirmation bias, and I
Mhm.
don't know if I'm rejecting it because there's unhealed nervous system body memory or if there's truth behind what he's saying. So when something happens in our life, we go to the safe people because now we're attuned and I know that Amber likes me and I like her and we can get warm and fuzzy and I know that she's for me and I'm for her. So now I can say, I'm wrestling with this thought. I'm
Hmm.
wrestling with this circumstance. Hey, I don't know why I'm in this space. I am triggered. Fun fact, I don't do surprises. I don't like them. I get very hot, like on fire hot. It stresses me out. I am by nature a desert cactus. Like that's what I am. I like when things go on, I want to retreat. I want to get prickly. I want to stay alone. When I am thrown into an environment that I am the center of attention, even if it's with a group of people I love dearly, I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? Nervous system overload.
The
So
little cactus prickles come out.
my husband threw me a surprise baby shower gathering here in Wisconsin, and it's a community I'm still trying to assimilate and acclimate into and be have the reciprocal relationship with, right? So it's not a group of people that love me dearly and know my whole story and I love them dearly and I know their stories. Like it's it's still my husband's people's, you know what I mean? And I'm still learning how to love them and they love me, which is challenging for me and my attachment wounds. So, I was incredibly dysregulated the next day. I don't need a cat right now. Thank you. I was incredibly dysregulated. And it took me 2 days. And Amber was like, hey, we're gonna chit chat. We're gonna do this. Let's get some interactive gratitude. Let's get some joy going. Let's get your brain turned back on so we can work this out. She didn't come at me and be like, what is your problem? You are so ungrateful. I can't even believe you. You're just ridiculous. You make it so hard for people to love you because you're a prickly desert cactus. It's not what she said. It was, wow, my friend is dysregulated. Let's attune into joy, and then we can problem solve from there. That took time to build the relationship, but that's the whole point is we need each other. We need to establish there's a person here that I can be myself with. They're not going to run if I have a cactus prickly moment. They're in it with me. They're for me, and I'm going to be for them because I'm going to learn how to take on their urges and their, what we said about Joe with the urges. And I'm going to take on the characteristics of the people around me to give me the Brazilians so I can stand when things are going on and I can march forward. Because
Mhm.
how many of us, when things happen and we don't have that threshold of tolerance, we fall into shame cycles. What is wrong with me? Why won't this go away? I've prayed it and it won't go away.
Yeah.
I've brought it to the cross, it won't go away. I've pled the blood of Jesus, it won't go away.
Hmm. Well,
And
how
there,
about just being able to not even just the relational realm, which is like super important, right? Like we're trying to establish this for the generations and for those that we disciple, but how about for your own health and well-being?
yeah,
Like my friend's getting ready to have a baby. And if I am for her, I want everything. Like, I'm not going to just wish her well. I'm not going to just be like, well, that's my intention. I'm going to pray for her. No, her nervous system will dictate how this baby's going to be delivered,
yeah,
right? Like if she's in fight or flight or just fear mode, her cellular rigidity is going to hold that baby in,
yep.
and we're not going to have a successful delivery. Like that's just statistics that our nervous system, like I guess you guys it's hard to see this right here, but it's a piece of the nervous system that
Someone will zoom.
shows yeah, so yeah, you zoomers out there, like, you can, so how you do that is you pause on the video if you're watching YouTube, and then you, yeah.
L.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Like increase the screen size, put it on your big TV. But that shows that every major organ of our body is attached to the nervous system.
Yeah,
Like that tree roots go all the way down the major that vagus nerve goes all the way down into our pelvic area, and then you
yeah,
have nerves that go all the way down into your feet. So if we are in fight or flight, or we're relationally disconnected and our body is like threat, 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 my cells lock up, my heart rate like gets really fast,
yep.
I stop breathing deeply, I
Blood
have
shunts. Yeah.
chemical releases, cortisols,
Yeah.
I'm not at peace. And yet we'll say, well, I'm discerning fear. Yeah, it's your own body
Yes.
response to fear that I might be rejected in this relationship or there might be problems going on. And
Yeah.
so the heart behind us wanting to like have discussions in the next several weeks over how to become relationally attuned with one another is we have to unpack our stories in a protected space,
Yeah.
sharing our stories, sharing what our like sharing our dreams.
Yeah.
Like that's like a big deal for some people because there might be dreams that are shelved. And because we're scared, we're fearful, we've been hurt in our past dreams or whatever, like we won't even talk about it.
Yeah.
But yet
What we
to
want to
have
see manifest, not our sleepy time dreams. Like, what are our
right,
hopes
right,
and desires
right.
that
Our hopes and our
manifest in our
dreams.
life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we do share actual
We do
our
share
dreams of
dreams
the
too.
night too. And we do hope to have a conversation with someone who I've been learning how to do dream interpretation and how to do that in protected spaces without always looking at it from a fear perspective. Like,
Hmm.
no, there is a redemptive aspect in our nighttime dreams, but there's redemption also in relational healing,
Yeah.
in walking through and talking about our traumatic pasts.
Yeah.
Because whether you believe it or not, I know a lot of churches talk about you don't need to go back to your past. It's all under the blood. Well, if it's all under the blood, then why do we have a bunch of people who are relationally disconnected?
Right.
Because under the blood meant that you were born again into the family of God and you should be acting like children of God.
Right.
Instead, we're scared of one another. We're fearful. We don't trust. We don't enter
We're
into a deep
angry.
relationship.
We separate. There's all the
Hmm.
behavior that is completely counter to the fruit. It's
Yeah.
completely counter. And you, just because you can have one or two, if you're still harboring conflict, resentment, fear towards anyone, something got pushed on.
Yeah.
And it's not about the idea of people haven't wronged you and you can extend them forgiveness. And it doesn't mean everything's reconciling because it really does take two people to enter into reconciling. But if you're walking with Messiah and getting covered in his dust, you're the person who pulls the table up and says, I'm ready to reconcile,
Yes.
not the
Yes.
other person.
Yeah. Yep. So that means we got to put on our big girl and big boy pants, and we've got
Hmm.
to do this thing, which means we need to walk through healing and we need to get relational with people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things of the kingdom of God that are upside down to our culture.
Yep.
And remember, there are parts of our brain that have not been developed in the kingdom of God because we've carried that brain from our past into our present relationships. And there are areas that need to be healed.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
If there
and that
was ever,
transformation can only come in relationship.
yep, I was literally just going to say, if there was ever a time to grab a friend to do this podcast with, grab a friend and do the next few episodes so you
Mhm.
can contemplate and circumspect and unpack and dialogue about the things we're going to be talking about. We're going to have some guests on who've walked through the curriculums of trauma healing, who it's greatly impacted. We may have other facilitators. We're not sure yet, but we know for a fact that we have somebody coming on who has walked through trauma healing as a participant and what it's done for her life and how she's brought that into her relationships moving forward.
Mhm.
So stay tuned, friends, because we have some excellent strategy and safe space and circumspection time as we dive head first or butt first. I don't know. It depends on you into the holiday season. So, um,
Well, I
thanks
think by
for
the time this is released, though, this will be post
post
holiday
holiday. So
season.
now they need it. So they either went
Yeah,
in
no, they need
They
it.
either went in head first or butt first into the water, and now it's time to recover. So grab
Yes.
a partner, grab a warm beverage, and stay tuned because we are really hoping that this is going to empower you. And feel free to
Mhm.
Venmo us $5.
That's right.
Until next time, Feral Faith.